Hello, thanks for joining us on your channel of choice at this time, African Independent Television, AIT. Welcome to Focus Nigeria, your program that provides you a voice on topical issues shaping the politics. My name is Gbemga Arulegba. Glad to be here this lovely morning. It's the morning after. Now, after all the pressure, the rallies, the endorsements, the signature and media campaigns, President Goodluck Jonathan has finally thrown his hat in the ring. And he has decided to heed all the calls, fall for the pressure, and run again for the office of the president in the February 2015 presidential election. It was a big rally which completely brought Abuja to its knees, with the attendant hardships on many who had nothing to do with the rallies or even fancied it at all, as they were concerned more with how to eke out a living of their own. I will tell you more on the rally, which in any case will lead us into our discussions this morning as well. But first, let's touch base with our newsroom as Otibe Umoren is set to bring us top stories making the headlines at the moment.
Thank you, Gbemga. These are the news headlines this morning. I am Otibe Umoren. Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan has formally declared his intention to run for the 2015 presidential election on the platform of the People's Democratic Party with a promise to build a better Nigeria. The Eagle Square venue of the declaration was agog with fanfare and prayer singing from multitude of supporters of the president. President Goodluck Jonathan on Tuesday pledged to consolidate on his achievements in the past 4 years, just as he formally declared his intention to contest for the second term in office. Addressing a mammoth crowd in Abuja, President Jonathan says the overall achievements during his first tenure qualify him for a second term. And Vice President Namadi Sambo says Nigeria's economy has witnessed a steady rise under President Goodluck Jonathan's watch. Sambo said these on Tuesday during President Jonathan's declaration of intention to seek re-election in 2015. He urged Nigerians to give the president their full support. Tuesday's formal declaration by President Jonathan came after months of speculations in the media. And Nigeria's ambassador to the U.S. has criticized Washington for refusing to sell his government lethal weapons to fight Islamist insurgents. Nigeria needed support to deliver the killer punch, not light jabs, against the Boko Haram group, Adebowale Ibidakbo Adefuye said. His comments came as the militants seized the northeastern Mahia town. A Malian nurse has died of Ebola, the second confirmed death from the disease in the country. Officials say the nurse had treated a man who arrived from Guinea at the Pasteur Clinic in Bamako, and the clinic was now in quarantine. The latest case is unrelated to the first, when a 2-year-old girl died from the disease in late October. Nearly 5,000 people have been killed in the West African outbreak, mostly in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. The World Health Organization has declared the outbreak a global health emergency. And 3 young activists have been found beheaded in Derna in eastern Libya. The 3, who had relayed information about the city through social media, had been kidnapped earlier this month. Several Islamist groups are competing for control of the city, with some militants recently declaring allegiance to Islamic State. And those are the headlines in the news this morning. I now hand you back to Gbemga Arulegba for more on Focus Nigeria.
Yes, thank you, Utibe. Yes, from far and near, they came from all over the country as well, big and small man in the party. The mission was the same, to watch their beautiful bride accept the proposal they have been packaging in different forms. Very colorful as well. And all the PDP governors with their different delegations, all the pro-Jonathan organizations, the Jonathanians, the Gejites, all were in attendance. The speeches were all along the same line. The Jonathan administration has done well. It has laid a solid foundation for revolution to occur in many sectors, and revolution is indeed occurring in some, and it's time to build and or consolidate on these achievements.
Nigeria, and we are saying, do not be intimidated. We are behind you. Do not be intimidated. We are very happy when we watch the television and we see one particular advert that says that those who are behind you are more than those who are against you. The people who are trying to destabilize us, We cannot help our future. The people who are Blamela, who are propagandists, we assure you that working with you, the PDP government will go with you, shoulder to shoulder, leg in leg, and 2015, we shall deliver, 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 we shall deliver. PDP!
We pledge, I pledge, we pledge 100%. If there's something like 1,000%, we pledge for him. We pledge completely for him. That is why today is no market today. All of us are here.
Because of the good work he's done. You know, Jonathan is a silent achiever. He achieved a whole lot, a whole milestone that all the past presidents could not achieve. So that is why TAN endorsed him. And some 10 million Nigerians endorsed Jonathan also.
There you have it. And by the time he himself stepped out onto the stage, it was obvious to the Jonathanians that their man is the candidate to beat by the record set, and by which he wants his assessment done.
I see in Nigeria that the next generation will take us to another stage. I've seen a different Nigeria. I've seen in Nigeria that even those who have carried guns against the state will embrace peace. I've seen in Nigeria that all our young men and women will have jobs to do, and everybody will have the opportunity for good education. Therefore, after seeking the face of God, in quiet reflection with my family, and after listening to the calls of our people nationwide to run, I, good luck, in feeling, as I've accepted to present myself
The president forgot to mention that he's also May Nasara. All right, so now is Jonathan running as the sole candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Unlike in 2011, when the opposition was very stiff, even before the race for the party ticket began. In 2011, you recall President Jonathan had to contend with heavyweights like Atiku Abubakar, Babangida Aliyu, Bukola Saraki, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and Sarah Jubre, until the race was narrowed to just three: himself, Atiku, and Sarah Jubre. And of course, you must recall that historic one vote that Mrs. Sarah Jubre got at the Eagle Square at the presidential primaries. But 4 years after, fast forward to 2014, it's easier. And so, Jonathan is ready for the coronation ceremony, which the National Convention will be on December 10. But is this a measure of how easy the May contest itself on February 14, 2015 will be? Already some political parties like APGA, that's the All Progressive Grand Alliance, the Labour Party, and some others which were more or less cells of the PDP, have adopted Jonathan as their candidate. So, the main challenge will come from the opposition or Progressive Congress, APC. How ready is the PDP for this titanic battle? How ready a product to sell is Jonathan? Has he truly earned the support of Nigerians as his supporters are claiming? In what areas? What are the issues that will shape his campaign? Join us for the conversation shortly. Just to mention that the Senate may reconvene today, and the senators may have ended their revolt if the reports that President Jonathan had appeased them with at least 40 of them promised automatic return ticket is anything to go by. But then, didn't we also hear the governors are kicking against any arrangement that will favor the senators over and above them? The proceedings today at the Senate will tell us where the pendulum is swinging. I'll be right back shortly with my guests for this morning's discussions.
When I
are you going to get it into your head? Just look at how much you are spending on guns. Look at how much you are spending when a very, very, very small fraction of your budget of death would ensure that children everywhere in the world had clean water to drink, had enough food to eat, had a decent home.
All right, if you're just joining us, time to start the discussions for this morning. My guests are here. Chief Femi Fani-kayode is joining me for discussions this morning. Former Minister of Aviation, former Senior Special Assistant to President Obasanjo on Public Affairs then, I think. He is a PDP chieftain today.
Back home.
Well, I don't know about that. What's that? Are we safe? Okay, let's get on. All right. Dr. Emeka Okengwu is also joining us for these discussions. Dr. Okengwu is an economist and public affairs commentator as well. I don't know him to be a PDP chieftain yet.
Oh, he is.
He is? Or a sympathizer?
Our committee. Powerful committee.
All right. I don't know whether the World Bank will still be keen to pay you as a consultant. Anyway, big still, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You were at the arena yesterday, or
yes,
you watched?
Yes, I was there.
You were at the arena. Yes. You were there too?
I was there.
Breathtaking. Everything went well. Mammoth crowd. I'm sure it was as planned.
Yes.
Well, but for those of us who watched from our offices or living rooms, just some glitches here and there. One that was noticeable was that the president was not addressing us most of the time. Not his fault, but something that probably the media team didn't pay or the technical team didn't pay attention to.
Yes.
The cameras were not aligned with the prompters. And so most of the time that the president was facing the prompter, he wasn't facing the camera, so he wasn't addressing us. Anyway, I'm saying this because
next time.
Well, for next time, and probably because we're also told that there were some international audience, UK, US, South Africa, and what other place?
Yes.
We need to make our present our president in a better format. All right, congrats for those of you who played one role or the other in making it happen.
Thank you very much.
Unlike 2011, it was a different scenario we saw yesterday. We saw a president, a much more confident person addressing Nigerians and all of that. But was that the declaration necessary in the first place? He had picked the form, he had submitted it, and so we know that he was running. Was there any necessity for all of that show yesterday?
Well, my view is that it was absolutely necessary in order to provide a clear source of leadership for the party and all those that were doubting his aspiration, in order to put to rest all the rumors that he may step down or he may be intimidated into not running.
Intimidated by who?
Well, I mean, the whole idea, the whole gamut, and the whole intention of those that perhaps don't want him to come back is to bomb him into submission and to ensure that he doesn't throw his hat into the ring. And I think it needed to be done in order to even ensure that the party came together and accept the fact that, look, this man is running, there's no doubt about it, and we should all close ranks and present him to the Nigerian public as our flag bearer. And I think that's why it was necessary. Quite apart from that, we're at war in this country, as we're all aware, and in a time of war, it's important that the president is clear, decisive, and bold in all that he does, and that he does not allow the circumstances to intimidate him into not doing what he chooses to do.
Dr. Okengwu, now we've seen that President Jonathan is running after all the media bleeds and all of that. So are we just waiting to see a coronation on December 10? That's the National Convention. 2, will he have served the cause of the president better as a Democrat who has been preaching that mantra since that the votes must count? Will he have advanced his status more if the PDP had not tried to deny two others who were trying to obtain the nomination form? If they had just allowed them to
it's also important that the PDP didn't officially deny those people. In fact, the official statement from the PDP was that nobody had been denied and that they could come and pick their forms. So what we had in the media was that the guys said they had gone there to pick their forms and somebody told them. And I think it was you or somebody in AIT that had, confronted the publicity secretary. Okay, who is the mouthpiece of the party? And he said, no, I'm not going to give you any information that I'm not very certain about. But PDP came out the next day with a statement to say nobody has been denied forms. In fact, they had even extended, the period for picking up the forms for submission. So you see, sometimes we need to be very careful. Talk is cheap. Talk is very cheap. I mean, if somebody says come and take the form, and you go there and you're not given a form, then you have evidence that you're not given a form. That you go there and probably somebody whispers to you, I'm coming in here, and somebody says, Gbemga doesn't want to see you, or Gbemga doesn't like you. The only person who should tell me that Gbemga doesn't like me is Gbemga himself. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that's a non-issue, truly. I think that's a non-issue.
I'm asking this because I don't know whether you know that one of them has gone to court now.
That's what I'm saying to you. I mean, going to court based on what? When the party
that she was denied the rights.
Based on what?
It's a violation of several sections of the electoral act.
You see, some people like to blow hot Gbemga. And I think we're getting to a stage in our country where, sometimes we should begin to now also sieve, the chaff from the wheat. If a party had come out with a statement to say, you guys have a code here to say we don't accept gifts. You publish it. Don't give a journalist anything. And then somebody goes and says, I'm suing AIT, because somebody demanded a gift from me. I say, who? They say a reporter. It doesn't make sense, truly. I think it's a non-issue.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Yeah. Comparing Jonathan of yesterday, Jonathan of 2014, 2011, do you think he sold himself adequately to Nigerians yesterday? Because nobody can blow your trumpet better than you. Did he blow his trumpet?
I think he did. I think there's a marked improvement. If you look at the quality of the speech, the quality of delivery, his confidence levels, the record that he enunciated there, and the list of achievements, quite undeniable. I mean, obviously, 2011 was a much more difficult time for him. And I would even go as far as to say that the years after 2011, right up until maybe the beginning of this year, things were very difficult, and it was very easy to take the government, take the government on various issues in terms of their performance in various sectors. But I think what has happened in the last few months is that he has sat up and he has taken the whole issue of governance far more seriously. He's come into his own. And the man that we saw speaking yesterday and the man that we've been interacting with in the last 3 months is certainly different to the man that we knew many years ago or a few years back, who was deputy governor of his state, then governor, and then he came in as acting president, and then a president that a presidency was literally just forced on him by virtue of circumstances, which he may well not have been fully prepared for. But the last few years, it's very clear to me that he has picked up the gauntlet, and he has become the man that we all wanted him to be right from the outset. And for me, he's a great pride to the PDP. And his strength yesterday, his courage, and his enunciation of his values and his vision, I think, was a great legacy that the PDP established during the time of Obasanjo, and it's clear to me that he is now on that mantle and he's building on that foundation.
Nigerians first, Nigerians always. That's the slogan this time around. I can't recall what the slogan was in 2011. Beyond that, I'm one of you. I have no enemies to fight. When I was growing up, I didn't have shoes. I carried my school bag myself. Compare the two.
I'll start with you.
And what does Nigerians first, Nigerians always mean?
I'll start with you. Sometime last year, I said to you, Gbemga, you know what it is? You're emerging to become the Larry King of the Nigerian media. I told you this last year. And it's very obvious now that you have gotten as good or even better than Larry King. You don't need any scripts.
I beg.
No, see, I'm telling you, I'm not playing your trumpet. This is you, okay? I don't glorify people. You know me that well. I'm trying to liken you to what you saw yesterday. I'm trying to liken you to the man you saw yesterday, the man you saw speaking. You could break that speech into 4 broad parts. Part number 1, what you can call your socio-economic and socio-political realities. Okay, Part number 2 is be able to say, this is my scorecard. And when you deal with that scorecard, that's where it interests me as a development person. Because the last time we had a conversation here, we were talking about a microeconomic segment of the economy. 3 things came out of it. Now, you now put in a local content policy that has pulled in $12 billion into your economy. That's one. You now put in a mining reforms that has brought in, Dangote, now upping, Dangote and 1 or 2 other people, upping our cement production to the extent now that we're not only producing over, we are now exporting. And most importantly,
a net exporter, I'm told, actually.
Cement has crashed from 2,000 something to 1,000 naira a bag. It's gotten to a point now where you are now beginning to now align your dams, align your seedling programs, align your road network. You've taken your road network from 5,000 where you saw it to 29,000 where it is today. That's the second part of it. Now, the third part of his speech is to now be able to now say, okay, fine, who am I dealing with? And that's where it comes to your question. And he started mentioning Mayati. And you saw them. He started mentioning the widows. And you saw them. He started mentioning, the youth. And you saw them. And he was saying, these are the people I am standing on. These are the Nigerians that we are going to be now. So, and he talked about inclusive growth. Each time I come here, I say to you, it's all about inclusive growth. So I think what it is you have is a man who says, okay, I've been able to now work on our regulations, work on our macroeconomic stability, okay, work on now putting, I liken it to a house. The most difficult part of building, Gbemga, is the foundation. The moment you finish your foundation, every other thing you see on top of our house is aesthetics. So I think Jonathan, I saw yesterday, Jonathan I saw speak, was not speaking politics. He was speaking facts. He was saying, this is what I have done, this is how I've been able to do it, and this is what I want to do. And he kept saying something. You didn't see any big figure, any big fish, any big person come onto the podium to be recognized. The people that were recognized were Nigerians. So it was all about Nigerians first.
Nigerians always.
And let's do it together.
Okay. Double chief, actually. Is it still double or multiple now?
Just one.
Do you think the president has set the tone for the campaigns that we will see from now on?
I think he has. And I think it was very important for him to do so. I think he set the pace. I think he's raised the bar. And I think it will be very difficult for the other side to match that. I also think that he has inspired many, many people. I mean, he's given us hope. His words brought hope to many within the party and even outside the party. And, if I may say so, the whole issue of whether or not the declaration should have taken place, I don't know if we're coming to that, but it's something that many of us thought about, because it's a legitimate point that, look, 49 children were killed the day before, and the following day we have this big declaration and a very grand affair which is designed to inspire. But having thought about it, it was very clear to me that he made the right decision to go and continue with this process and this thing.
Why was it right decision?
Simply because the intention of those that set off that bomb and killed all those wonderful children the day before was specifically to ensure that the declaration did not proceed, was to ensure that we were all terrorized to a point that we were in trauma.
Is this I don't know whether this assertion is anchored on any.
Sure, it is. I'll explain it to you. What it is this: the whole essence of terror is not just to kill people; it's also to stop all of us, to increase fear and stop the rest of the country, particularly the president, from continuing all the work that he has been doing and to continue the course that he has chosen. Now, it seems to me to be very, very, it's not a coincidence that the day before his declaration was well advertised, somebody decides to go and bomb 49 children the day before. The whole idea was to stop him from continuing with that declaration, destabilize him, traumatize the whole country, and set us back. And the most important thing is this: we must not allow them to dictate our day-to-day pace of living or what we do. We mourn and we cry and we express our deep condolences and our sadness for what happened, and also our outrage at what happened. But at the same time, we must continue Government must continue, the president must continue, and he must not allow himself to be intimidated by the circumstances that he's found himself in. And that's why I think it was the right and proper thing for him to go ahead with the declaration.
Perhaps the other way to also look at it is that those who did that are also setting an agenda for the president, that you've been the president for these past years. Security is still a major challenge to Nigerians. If we cannot guarantee the lives of children in their school, aren't they also telling the president one major failing of his administration?
Yeah, that's a legitimate point, but then again, they got it quite wrong, and I'll explain why. We're a nation that's at war. We're a nation that's saddled with an opposition that has not only encouraged Boko Haram, and not only objected to the fact that Boko Haram was proscribed and called it unjust, and so many other things, that we are in a war situation now, and what you have to do is look at the facts on the ground to know whether or not there have been improvements. A year or so ago, we were having bombs all over Abuja, all over Kaduna, all over Kanu, all over Niger State. I mean, we wake up in the morning, there will be a bomb here and there. But as a consequence of the efforts of the NSA's office and our armed forces, it's very clear that at least they've managed to push all those atrocities, at least most of them, out to a specific area in the country. And what they've done is they've sent the military there in full force, something some of us have been calling for years, to ensure that even the insurgency that's taking part in that part of the country is fully suppressed. They're in the process of doing that now. The good news is that we're not getting all the bombs all over the country. Not too long, a few months back, you had people arrested in places like Owerri, down in the south and in the southwest, who are actually planting bombs, and they were Boko Haram people planting bombs. Again, this was another measure of the success of the efforts in the last few years. But the most important thing to appreciate is this: there is a war going on, and when you're fighting a group of people that are ready to take their own lives just to make a point and just to say, look, we'll make this country ungovernable, we'll ensure this man doesn't come back, simply because we do not accept that somebody from his part of the country or his faith should rule. When you're facing that, you must understand that there will be casualties, but we will not be moved, and we shall continue the fight against them, and this government will prosecute this war against them effectively.
Dr. Okengwu, you had your voice to this particular dimension.
It's very simple. The only way you fight terror is with confidence. You don't fight terror with fear. The only thing that wins, that conquers terror, is confidence. Okay? The day somebody comes to your house and terrorizes you, okay, the whole intention is to make certain that you don't come on set. And you come on set and you hold your program. And you say to them, I'm going to be here tomorrow. Even if I have to come, I'm going to be here. You see, I tell you, that's the will. And again, to lend to what the double chief has said, it's very important we also know that this war we are fighting is asymmetric. What does that mean? You are only Boko Haram when you are carrying arms. Okay? Same guy who is Boko Haram is same guy who is now going to be classed as we have had a genocide. Innocent citizens are being shot. These are people who live, in communities. So I think it's all about Nigerians first and foremost taking over their country, knowing that it's not about Jonathan. Jonathan is just president of Nigeria. Every one of us has a stake in this country. Information is very important. And I keep telling people this. When people say we are failing, why are we failing? We are not failing. We are winning the war. We are winning the war because we are able to still do the things we are doing. We are able to still put on, work on our infrastructure. We are able to still go to school. And those children who are defying them to go to school are the matters of tomorrow. This country will celebrate them. Because if you stop schooling, we already have this gap, between the north and the south. And so anybody who says to you insensitivity of government, it does not understand it. It's just being comical. Indeed. Because in all this, and I'm talking as a development person, you move your road infrastructure for 5,000 to 29,000 kilometers of road network. You have been able to now make certain that your seaports are running 24 hours. Well, I mean, these are things that are verified. They're empirical. So for me, as citizens, I think we've made more progress than we can ever make. And by the time we get to the end of this war, everybody now begins to find out that it was senseless. It was unnecessary. Yeah. But what's more important is that the president has shown the will and the capacity to empathize. And that's why he started his speech by saying, let's talk about what has happened. He talked about them. He talked about the Chibok girls. He talked about all our challenges. But he also made one statement, which is very instructive. I will do everything to make certain that we win this war. And we're winning. It's not a Jonathan's war. It's a Nigerian war. It's a war all of us must fight.
Sorry, yeah. Just to come in there, he spoke about what the president said quite rightly, and he's absolutely right. But we also should measure the situation that we're faced with what the opposition has also said over the last few months and the last few years. When I say that some people are interested in stopping this declaration from proceeding, and also stopping us from conducting our day-to-day lives and stopping government from functioning, I knew I was saying this. I mean, a situation whereby the opposition, I think it was last night, issued a statement that yesterday's declaration was akin to dancing on the grave of the children that were murdered the day before by the president, is absolutely nonsensical. This is an opposition, like I said earlier, that complained when Boko Haram was prescribed and described as unjust and unconstitutional. Lai Mohammed said so. This is an opposition that is led by a man who is likely to be their presidential candidate, who said that only last year that an attack on Boko Haram was an attack on the whole of the North. This is an opposition that's also led by a man that told the whole of Nigeria in 2001 that he was interested in spreading Sharia to all parts of the country. He also said in 2001 that Muslims in Nigeria should only vote for Muslims. I could go on and on and on.